Phishing tools. So I asked Flux Pro, which is one of a number of AI engines that can generate images. So I put into the AI image engine to draw me a picture of 6 common cybersecurity threats with a hacker on it. So I put that in for my prompt. It gave me this image back. So it has 6 images, and I'll start from the upper left. DOS and DDoS. DOS stands for what is known as denial of service. Uh, DDoS stands for distributed denial of service. We'll go over that and what it means. The second item or type of attack is domain hijacking. Um, I'll go over what that actually means and what it looks like in real life. The third type of attack or vulnerability is known as phishing. And no, that is not a misspelling. That is how we spell it in cybersecurity. We spell it with a PH and not the letter F as in Frank. The next type of attack, ransomware. And after that, we'll go over social engineering. And the final one is malware, which is a bit of a broad type of attack. So we'll go over some kinds of malware and how we combat or mitigate it. So first up, we're going to go over denial of service or dynamic denial of service. And simply put, denial of service means exactly what it sounds like. It's denying somebody access to a service. In this case, it's typically a website. It can typically be email. It could be to your Amazon account. It could be to your financial institution. Denial of service means it's preventing people from actually getting onto it. So, actually, my slide is incorrect. It should not be dynamic. It should actually be distributed. So, from a technical standpoint, without going too far over anyone's head, the way a denial of service attack works is that a hacker, like the one you see pictured here, is sitting behind a computer, and what he's doing is he's sending lots and lots of data. So, um, so he's actually purposely sending a whole lot of data and a whole lot of traffic to a specific server so that it becomes impossible for ordinary people to actually log into their email, log into their bank account, log into their Amazon account, log into their Temu account. I'm just throwing examples here so that you guys can understand how the attack works. The hacker is basically creating a roadblock on purpose so that nobody can basically get in except for the hacker. Typically, what happens in a denial of service is that there's so much traffic that the servers eventually crash because servers are nothing more than really powerful and really big computers. Now with distributed, excuse me, it's not dynamic. A distributed denial of service is the same type of attack, except the hacker takes control of a bunch of computers. And then he tells all of those computers to attack the one website. That's the difference. A denial of service involves one computer. Distributed denial of service is where a hacker controls a bunch of computers and send a bunch of data to that particular site. So I put an example of a real life attack. So in 2020, Amazon Web Services, which is known as AWS, that's Amazon's cloud, was attacked by a flood of data that peaked at 2.3 terabits per second. That is an unimaginable amount of data hitting all of their servers, hitting their data centers, and to the point where people who relied on AWS was not able to access their servers, access their environments, and it crippled businesses, it crippled commerce. Thankfully, when this happened, Amazon was able to actually fix and mitigate the problem. But I chose this example because a big company such as Amazon is not immune to being attacked with a flood of data packets, a flood of information. Before I move on, any thoughts or questions on this type of attack before I move forward? So this is denial of service. It sounds just like what you hear. It's denying somebody access to a service. Everyone's good. Feel free to use your reactions, your chat. All right. I'll quiz you at the end then. The next kind of
Sorry,
attack is
Ryan, I've got
yes,
a question because I'm just
yes.
surprised that someone like Amazon can actually get hacked
It's
with the
shocking.
level of, yeah. Oh, wow.
No, so yeah, so this type of attack is really meant to be a nuisance. This is kind of like I'm trying to think of a different analogy. So this is kind of like the all right, when I was so when I was a young boy, when I was finished with school, I used to go to my aunt's house to wait for my mother to get off work. And at my aunt's house, I had two twin cousins that would always bother me, nag me. They were a nuisance. And the only thing I was trying to do was to do my homework and to not be bothered. However, they nagged me so much, it got to a point where I could not do my homework. They denied me my ability to do my homework. And sometimes it was really difficult to get them to stop. So denial of service is a technical version of being a royal pain in the you know what, to the point where you just pretty much shut down. And that's what I used to do. I would just shut down. That's what happens with these computers. A hacker figures out how to be a royal pain in the behind to a bunch of servers to the point where the only thing the server can do is shut down or crash, basically, is what happens. Um,
Okay, does the hacker need an insider to hack?
um, so for this type of attack, no, they don't. This type of attack, that is a very good question. They do not need to have somebody on the inside. Because this type of attack, all they're doing is that they're hitting the server from the outside. That's all they're doing. They're hitting it to the point where it'll crash. So for Amazon, for example, what Amazon has to do is they have to improve their security by denying the traffic to begin with. So or to not respond to it. So they have to program their equipment to basically ignore those responses. That's ultimately how Amazon was able to get themselves back online. They figured out what the hacker was using to basically send the attack, and they programmed their equipment to basically block or ignore it. Um,
Oh,
but you don't need anybody on the inside for this type of attack.
okay, thank you.
Nope, that is a very good question. And that was why I chose the Amazon
So,
example.
so please,
Yeah.
will this type of attack, though it does not require anyone from the inside, but uh, is it because, or will there be anything like leak of password or stuff? The password leak.
So you're asking if this attack like requires having knowledge of a password?
No, what he's
Yes,
saying is
please.
that was there a breach of password, a leak? Maybe the
Got it.
password, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For this type of attack, no. There was nobody's password was leaked. Nobody got somebody's login information to get in. Literally the only information that a hacker would get is what's known as a server address, which we call an IP address. If the hacker knows where the server sits on a network, that's all they need. They don't need a password. They don't need anybody's account. Once they find where the server is on the internet, they just send data and flood it until it crashes. So that's how the attack is normally performed. So basically, the hacker figures out where the servers are on the internet, and they just send a ton of data. Again, like you see in the illustration here, 2.3 terabits per second at its worst. I struggle to imagine like terabits and terabytes as far as hard drives and storage. There are not many there's very few servers, there's very few pieces of equipment that can handle that amount of data on Earth. That's rare at this point. Technology will, I believe, evolve to this point, but I don't think we're there yet. So the fact that Amazon was flooded with 2.3 terabits per second in this attack, yeah, that would lead to server crashes, server failures, and the need for Amazon to basically find the source of the traffic and basically stop it. So passwords are not needed, uh, and the attack is typically done by an outsider. Does not happen from the inside.
Please, last question.
Yep.
Can there also be a fault from the maybe the cybersecurity officer in charge of the website?
Sorry, ask the question one more time, Mr. Romero.
Can that be an effect or a problem from the cybersecurity officer in charge of that particular website? Possibly, if you have a cybersecurity officer, possibly you have recruited for your system, and then you happen to have such an attack. Is it or can't the cybersecurity officer handle that, or with or without him, still the attack can still carry
That's a very good question. So, ultimately, from a professional standpoint, the cybersecurity officer and team did ultimately mitigate or basically stop the attack from progressing further. But the thing that's important is that there are a lot of technologies that help the cybersecurity officer or the team member detect these kinds of attacks. They don't necessarily prevent them. So it's almost like what can I use for an example? Let's say you had a earthquake,